Hey, that's not rubbish.
Ciao and welcome to the newest episode of That's Not Rubbish, the Upcycler podcast where we talk to stunning people who are turning garbage into stunning new things. If you're not already following the TNR socials, what are you doing? It's the best way to get thrift flips, process videos, and unreal upcycle content from the pod onto your feed. I have linked our socials in the description, and I have also linked our support link, aka my Venmo, if you're enjoying the platform. Good news, we have some major projects in the works, so we could really use your support. Anyways, this week we're going back in time and overseas to just about the most iconic, chic fashion era there ever was, retro Italy. We're talking 60s, 70s mod Italian couture with our upcycler expert, Vittoria Buraschi of Unimpressed Studios.
Yay! Ciao, Lexi. Thank you so much for having me here. This is so exciting. Getting to talk to a fellow upcycler and someone that really understands what we're doing. I'm so excited to be on That's Not Rubbish today. Yay!
No, of course. And did I say your last name right? Because I know like the Italian last names were
It's actually
particular.
Buraschi.
Buraschi. And she brings out the hand until as she says
I
it.
have to
You have to.
like
Classic.
Buraschi.
Buraschi. No,
Yeah,
this is good.
that's good. That's great. Yeah.
Buraschi. Okay, good. No. No, it is a pleasure to have you on today, Victoria. Your brand is the chicest blast from the past. Your funky retro patterns are immaculate. The silhouettes are so authentic. And even your Instagram feed feels like it could belong to some mod fashion boutique back in the 60s. Like you nailed it.
Oh my God, thank you so much. That took so long. I mean, the vision is there and executing it, it's a deal.
It's
It's
a
the
whole other
work.
thing.
It's so fun though. It's great to see the vision coming together and coming to life. I feel like I've been having this inspiration hidden in me for so long, for all these years, and then, finally to put it out there and feeling seen and being heard. It's fantastic. So I'm really happy and of what we've been doing so far. I say we because it's like Paralis Majestatis, but it's actually just me.
No, no, that's right. And seeing you are, Victoria, you are absolutely fabulous. So please take us back to Italy in the 60s for this episode as we dig deeper into your inspiration, your sourcing process, and experience in the Italian luxury fashion world. But no, seriously, please, because speaking of Instagram, it's European summer season, so everyone's posting
Oh
their,
my God.
like, you know.
I know. Well, where to begin? It's like sometimes I feel like a scammer for selling myself out on my Italianness. And I have people that are like, you should post more Italian stuff. But like, what do you mean? I mean, I'm already being Italian. It's so weird, but I'm trying to. And I see all these posts, all these newsletters, like love it for Love and Lemons. It's like all
Yeah.
over. It's like, isn't this cultural appropriation or anyone?
You're like, I post Italian stuff. I am posting myself and I am Italian. I am the Italian stuff. Yeah.
I am the Italian. So I feel like so I know it's like it's so hard to see yourself in the mirror and see, oh my God, this is actually cool. And sometimes there's some little things about Italy that I can't stand quite that much anymore,
Yeah.
but they're actually very trendy, I find out. So I'm trying to navigate that.
Well, we're gonna say a little bit of good news first. We're because we start every episode off with a little bit of good news to cure the eco doomies. But I like this. I like the energy. We're gonna get into that. This is what I need for my FOMO.
Sure.
How would you say eco doomies, or I guess climate anxiety in Italian?
I would say like, I don't know, la paranoia. I would say like la paranoia dell'ecosostenibilità. Paranoia. I'm trying to say like,
La paranoia de
la paranoia dell'essere sostenibile.
the climate anxiety. Yeah. No, that sounds just like Spanish.
Yeah, it's like
Low key. Yeah.
um, l'ansia da crisi climatica.
Okay,
Unspecific.
yeah, I can feel it. That was it. No, because it sounds just like Spanish, yeah. So
Very simple, yeah.
good. Well, Victoria, being the high-end fashion lover that you are, you're gonna love this bit of good news. Are you ready?
Yeah. Please.
So Croc called and they want their shoes back. You know, Croc, like
Yeah. Oh yeah, I heard of that.
yeah. So they announced that they are happily taking back customers' old used Crocs. The take back program called Old Crocs New Life is in collaboration with Souls for Souls. So wearable shoes are rehomed and non-wearable Crocs are repurposed, perhaps into a brand new Crocs. But yeah, every donation goes with a 10% discount. So I guess it's cool to see a household name partaking in such initiative. Crocs are huge
Yeah, exactly. Huge. Yeah.
everywhere.
Never understood why Crocs the first place, and all of a sudden they're like fashionable and you see them on runways.
It was like that Balenciaga chunky Croc. You're right. It like elevated everything. I think it was just like ironic, like a joke, but it became
Absolutely.
serious. Yeah.
It's problems when it becomes mainstream.
Yeah, right. Unless you
But
start doing things like this, and I'll allow it because we're saving a lot of rubber from the landfill. But right.
well, no, definitely like no, of course not. No.
You don't have a pair of Crocs. Do they even have Crocs in Italy? Like,
Like yeah, like I saw my mother with some dupes actually around the house. Like she bought them at the Italian market. I'm like, okay, girl, you do you.
you do you there. Yeah, that's it. The American
No,
dream.
but I mean, it's definitely good news if they manage to recycle. Like I would say 40% of a shoe. That's gonna be already like a huge milestone. So yay,
Yeah.
more of that, please. There's so little recycling initiatives that really, really, really go to the end of that. You know what I mean? Like they go through what they promised that I would take anything as of right now. I'm actually in the process of recycling my socks and mutande, my panties.
Yay,
Last night I was
Victoria.
pulling stuff up from my drawers. I'm like, because you can't throw away that stuff,
Right.
and you can't really give it to Goodwill. So yeah, no, I'm obsessed. My husband is like, can we just throw this stuff? I was like, no, I need to find a recycling place that's gonna take really good care of that because it's too much rubbish. It's just too much. It's too
Yeah.
much stuff. Yeah, yeah. It's really different from Europe and Italy. There's so much waste in here, but
No, yeah, I definitely want to talk about that because I agree. And it's so evident in every aspect of everyday life. So, Victoria, you are Italian through and through. You said you're from Florence, the northern area of Italy.
well, my mom is from the north. My dad is from Tuscany. My mom is from Turin, the area. My dad is from like around Siena and Grosseto. It's like the countryside, the wild countryside of Tuscany, where wild boars run through. It's real. We had wild boars in our garden a couple of years ago. Like chill, no issues. Um, so and then yeah, I've always wanted to be an American,
Really?
weirdly. Though not, I mean, not wanted to, but like I found these papers from school, from primary school when I was 8 years old. I'm like, I'm gonna move to LA. I'm gonna found my own magazine. I'm gonna be in fashion. I'm going to be famous. I'm going to be, and I completely forgot about that. And then my mom sends me these pictures of these papers that she finds when
Yeah.
she's home alone without the kids. She's like, oh, my kids. And I was like, wow, this is like the real manifesting of it all.
Yeah.
And I'm like, sorry, I got distracted by that. Um, so whatever. And then I've been living and working in London, Florence, Paris, now LA. So I can't really never pinpoint where I want to be at the end of the day. I want to be everywhere because every city gives you a different part of what fashion is. And that's why I also think that my fashion um the idea that I have a fashion of designing, it's so complex and it's so layered, and I see how different it is. LA from New York, from Paris, from
Right.
Florence. It's really interesting. And also like, to send this message through the brand and out there. It's kind of like, again, complicated, just take some trial and error, but it's a very interesting point of view.
Yeah. No, although I had no idea that you had even dabbled in London and Paris. I mean, where have you not been? You've been to all the fashion capitals. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's too confusing. But
it is. It really is.
so everyone loves Italian food, right? Like
Mhm.
Italy is food. I bet your mother absolutely owns the kitchen, but are
Yeah.
you a big cooker yourself?
Yes,
And
absolutely. And yeah.
yeah, what's your favorite recipe? Because I want to know if you're allowed to share it. I know Italians are big on not sharing the recipes.
Well, my favorite one, I think it's going to be like some pasta with fish, but it takes so long to cook. So like, because I take the whole fish and then I cut it myself. So
Mhm.
like, you keep the bones on the side and then you cook the good meat. So with the bones, you make like the sugo, you make like the fumetto, we call it. So like you boil them with some wine, with some onions, with some garlic, with some parsley. You have to, boil it for like 1 hour or so, and you have to, care to it. You have to take away the bubbles and the dirt that comes afloat.
Yeah.
So then you get the really like pure, and then you have to strain it. It's a whole process. But then you have like a sort of like fish broth, but then you use to cook the pasta in. And with the pasta you cook the fillet of the fish. But so like I grew up with this culture that was very much imbued, um
Yeah, yeah.
pushed pushed into me as a kid, that you don't waste anything and everything is precious. So like you finish all your food in your plate.
Hmm.
um and there is this theory, especially like in Tuscany, that like you don't throw away anything. Like it says, you say "un si butta via niente," which means you don't throw away anything. So like, you get a pig, you slaughter it, you don't throw away anything of it. So like, because everything could serve, into the farm life. So, and I guess this way of being, it's what I'm now with clothes and fabric and, making the fashion line, which is pretty interesting. And the same way I'm cooking like a whole fish and we don't throw away anything, because everything serves to cook the meal and make the meal really glorious. It's like a sort of like, full circle. That
Wow. Yeah. That was really a beautiful way to put it. That was
I
really
know,
like, yeah,
it's
wow.
philosophical.
Yeah, no, you just did something Aristotle over here. Yeah, Vittoria.
Yeah.
No, but I can definitely relate that I've come from a very similar background. I'm Mexican and Italian, but I'm the Mexican side. Oh yeah, like we don't throw anything away. But what? No, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people underestimate the way that how you grow up and things influences your interests later down the road, your habits down the road. It's the blueprint. So
Yeah.
I can
That's
relate.
yeah. No, I
Yeah,
get it. I
sure.
mean, we both come from, countries with a lot of heritage, a lot of history,
Hmm. Good food. Good food.
great
Yeah,
food.
great food. I went to Italy, like, unreal, Northern Italy, Florence, all that. That's why I'm so jealous of everyone that's there right now because I know that it's magical. The last time I went, I gained like 20 pounds, like bolognese, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Like, I'm not going back. I will be going back.
It's, you walk a lot, so you actually just wait on water. I feel like, I mean, it's so different from here,
Yeah, it's so
Or
different. How would you compare the food in the US to the food in Italy? Her face.
you saw my face.
I think you just gagged. Did you just gag?
Wait, well, we actually have our own vegetable gardens.
Fair enough. There you go.
Yeah,
How would you compare the fashion in Italy to the fashion in the US? Another
that was the hardest part for me. Is just
the Crocs.
the Crocs, the leggings. That's not a piece of garment, you guys. You can't go around town with the damn pair of leggings. No.
I'm so glad
Um,
you moved here after high school.
it's just Did the pandemic bring us to this point? Maybe.
No excuse. That's actually it's actually gotten after, I think.
It, I get it. LA is LA. LA is so peculiar. It's sort of like this weird fake experiment, this weird Black Mirror episode. The rest, I think the rest of the nation is a little bit different, I guess. But even like, where to start? It's hard. And at the beginning, I was sort of trying to homologate. So I bought like my Everlane sweatpants, I wanted to be sustainable. I can't buy Adidas, so I'm gonna go for like the girlfriend collective. Spent weeks online. Look, imagine me. I don't know where to buy a cotton tracksuit that is sustainable and it's like, mindfully made.
Right. And they don't really help you find it. Like our society doesn't really point at the options. Yeah.
But it is true that here in the States, and especially in LA, you have a lot of sustainable options that in Italy don't absolutely exist. But I also think that it's a way less consumeristic society. So that sort of balances it out.
Yeah. I feel like we're just hearing the marketing, like the sustainable words. I don't know if it's actually more so. I would love to think that, but I don't know. But no, yeah, but not only is Italy world renowned for the food, but it's the fashion capital. Since the Renaissance, Italy's fashion has been unmatched. It's home to designers and fashion houses like Versace, Valentino, Armani, Prada, Pucci, Roberto Cavalli. And as a pattern girl, Pucci and Versace are easy favorites for me. But you actually worked for Roberto Cavalli brand, right? Or did I make that up?
No, it's true. That was one of my first internships. Yeah, that was so great. He wasn't there though. It was the Peter Dundas era. But
rest in peace. Also, he's not here anymore.
Great. Yeah, I know. Yeah, well, Roberto. Yeah, it was like such an innovator. Like he discovered how to print on leather and on suede before anyone else. Like he was a real alchemist in the tintoria, in the printing aspect of that. They had a huge printing warehouse where in the outskirts of Florence, where the offices were based. So it's not like, first of all, fashion is not always glitzy and fabulous because there's a lot of houses and a lot of factories, and you're mostly gonna go work there. Yeah. So yeah, No, it was a great experience, and I would spend hours in the archives, and I'm so happy that I spent so many hours back there. It's like, because you get to see all the elaborations, all the details, all the beads, all the men work on those pieces is astonishing and very expensive. Let's put it that way. Yeah. But yeah, too bad. So, when I was there, the brand sort of went into bankruptcy and it had to be bought from, like I think a Saudi Arabian investor or something like that. So they had to close the whole printing establishment, which was huge, like incredible. You would see like lame silks printed with, screen printing, which now you can't really do anymore. But it was magic. It was so great, so gorgeous. Lots of embroideries, lots of detailing, really like luxe and beautiful. Yeah.
I can't even imagine the things that you saw, like all the knowledge and just pure art, intelligence absorbed into your brain. Yeah.
Wow. And as you say, it's like something that really goes back to the Renaissance for Italy and for Tuscany, especially Tuscany. And they're trying to, maintain it and keep it alive to this day. So, there has been a lot of associations popping up trying to salvage those techniques and those amazing, again, alchemic processes that no one else knows how to do, except, of course, around the world, there's a bunch of amazing, spectacular techniques. But I think that France and Italy are the most amazing treasures of craftsmanship.
Craftsmanship is a really good way to put it, right? Because I think people think that fashion is just making something that looks nice. You put it on a pretty model and you call it a day, but no, there's science behind it. There's math behind it. There's concepts and goals and just poetry in a way. So So it's definitely more than meets the eye. But please tell us more about your journey in the Italian luxury fashion world. Like, what are some other career highlights?
Yeah. So, well, the other biggest gig that I got was being a designer at Dior.
Oh, that doesn't
But
hurt. Are you kidding
split,
me?
I was split in between Florence and Paris for so again another warehouse job. But then it came with but it was awesome. I mean,
Yeah, it's Dior. Hello.
but that also, that's when you get used to all those beautiful techniques, elaborations. There's no budget. You're making the most crazy things. It's like you're launching samples. You launch like 10 samples every day. And it's like, who cares? You don't have to, tell exactly. It's literally that. So like I got used to all this perfection and all of these amazing things that now it's having a brand. It's hard not to get at least 50% of that perfection. And it's also what makes the brand slow, and it takes forever to find the right fit, the
Exactly.
right, yeah, fabric. Um,
Yeah, no, definitely. Wow. Wow, I can't imagine your life. Like a movie, like just being surrounded by all the beautiful designers and the dresses that just take hours to make and have thousands of beads. Like you really lived and you saw the whole behind the scenes. I can imagine how that's influenced you. So, so and then what inspired you to start your own retro inspired brand?
right. I guess I was always obsessed with that era because it represented such a turmoil in time. Especially in Italy, we have so much material and so much stuff to, pull inspiration from. Especially in Italy, was a great period after the World War II. There was, people really wanted to go back to life, and we witnessed like a huge economic boom. You know, the invention of the refrigerator, the television, and people getting together, and like the Vespa and the automobile, and everything was so stylish and so great. And it feels like a sort of dazzling era, like a little bit like the Roaring Twenties.
Yeah.
We had the economic boom in Italy. So like I feel like the 60s, and everything was happening there. Especially like with Rome becoming the capital city of movies, all Hollywood coming to Cinecittà to film, and all these international stars just meeting in the same place. It was like a really rich, stylish, cultural moment in time that had so much to explore, so many talented people, and so much stuff that is still very valuable to these days. Like everyone is obsessed with Fellini, everyone is obsessed with Mastroianni, Sophia Loren. Like we're talking about national heroes.
The people, yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like, fashion was happening at the same time, at the same time, like it was there was all this experimentation. You had the space age, you had this tailoring, you had this color, you had this really joie de vivre that it's looks really as like a happy and like a great place to be. I
Yeah.
feel like, as an artist, as a creator, I've always longed to go into this magical, happy place that is better than reality,
Yeah.
and it kind of wanted to bring that back, bring like that positivity, that great energy back. And I feel like, clothes were very well constructed. There was an attention to tailoring and to
Mhm.
details that it is it's there nowadays. It's just not mainstream anymore. I feel like, back in the days you would go to your personal tailor, your personal seamstress, bring a roll of fabric you bought at the market, and you would have a custom made piece just for you, and it was well made, it wasn't crazy expensive, and it just suits you so well, and you were wearing it with pride. And also I think that it comes from this Italianness and European thing of seeing and being seen, that it's really doesn't exist in here, but it's like that square thing, that piazza thing. Like in Florence, you go to the square, my favorite square is Piazza Santo Spirito, and that's where all the hipster people are. I don't know if they're still to these days because we left, but there's this cultural idea of seeing what people are doing, what they're wearing. And I also kind of wanted to bring back that feeling of dressing up for the sake of dressing up and pleasing yourself, and sort of showing off a little bit. Um,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. Let me stop you because you've quite literally answered five of my next questions. Yeah. Like, whoa, no, it's really nice to hear you talk. I think your passion definitely shines through in your pieces, and now hearing you talk, it's really just nice to hear you talk. Most of the time we have people on here, a lot of them are American designers, and like you said, growing up, you kind of wanted to be American because we're in the news. We kind of shove our culture down everyone's throats. We are in the cameras, but I think we take that for granted sometimes. And nonetheless, like for me and for a lot of people in the fashion industry and the culinary world and in overall life, Italian culture influences us a lot. So it's really nice that you don't take that for granted and that you are realizing where you come from and your roots and how that's affected you, and you just have so much admiration for all that. And then going into connecting that with your influences and inspirations in mod fashion. Yeah,
yeah,
so many things that you said had stuck out to me because it is a very idyllic time. It just, when you look at a picture or anything from that time period, you just think of happiness. You think picture perfect life, summer fun, unity, community, and just celebration. So you're nailing it. You're definitely translating that through the brands. Yeah.
I really feel like unity and community is a big part of what it is that I actually couldn't, pinpoint. But yeah, it's true. And there was sort of like, this, of course, there's still slow living in there, but it was like a different way to approach life and in everyday life and material stuff. And really keeping a dress
Yeah.
forever for your whole life because it was well made and it was yours and it was one of a kind, and it can last and it can be inherited by your nephews and grandkids, and or at least this is what I got a bunch of stuff always from my siblings. I have two older siblings, a sister and a brother.
Uh-huh.
And I've always wore their stuff, or I wore my grandma's stuff. She still has amazing
Oh my
pieces in
God.
the
Yeah.
yeah, in the wardrobe, and I was like, wow, this is so incredible. Yeah,
Yeah. No, I can only imagine your grandma's closet. No, because it was more, I guess this was more her era, like the 60s, 70s. Because
absolutely.
yeah, and the fashion is just so iconic. When I think of the 60s, I think Cher, Elvis, Jane Fonda, Farrah Fawcett, and the Beatles, Americanized
Yeah, of
idols,
course.
and the feathered hair, the experimental cuts and forms, like the bell bottoms. The mod fashion is iconic, and it's very inspiring to see the vintage fabrics being given second life through your brand because they're so beautiful and vibrant. So
Thanks.
yeah,
It's a challenge sometimes to make something very cool with
yeah.
this fabric. I want to create something that is relatable and wearable,
Hmm.
something that we can wear every day and be comfortable in, and it looks good, and you could go, AM to PM. This was also like a great thing for me, like because I would go into the office, it's 8:30 in the morning, and then I go out at 7 and it's aperitivo time. So I would, fly to the bar to have a glass of wine. And you want to look awesome.
That
It's a,
seems sweet. Yeah.
that Wednesday night, and you just want to look great. And then you never know where you're gonna end up. So
Right. No, don't stop, please. No, and like I said, your silhouettes are just stellar. The herringbone cutout dress is an evident signature and straight out of the 70s. Tell us a bit more about like these signature outfits. Like what staples or signature features from a 60s, 70s fashion do you kind of look up to?
right. The dress was a huge success. Everyone loves it. And I feel like that was already like still rushed when I made it because I wanted to come out with the brand as soon as possible. So I feel like I didn't nail the shape,
You
properly. I kind of want to redo it, but it's like a very fun piece. And I wear it in summer as well because it's made with wool suiting, and it's so fresh, and it still keeps you, since it's a natural fiber, it's not plastic, it
Right.
keeps you fresh and you can breathe, and like so you're not sweating like crazy. So I wear it in the Italian summertime, so that says it all. And
Yeah.
I feel like the mini skirt was such a huge piece, such a turmoil, object of turmoil back in the 60's, that it's fun to bring it back, and it's fun to wear it without any problems to these days.
Mhm.
Fun fact, I can't wear it in Italy because I get catcalled a lot. It's insane. It's so awful. And
Italian men is another, we'll have another episode about them. We can't fit it in this one.
so yeah, exactly. So like see how that works to these days. So it's so weird, whatever. But it's such a, again, because it's a mini skirt. So it's a very
It's
it's
powerful. She's a powerful
it's
being.
powerful, exactly. It's such a powerful piece to wear.
So I want to know the name behind Unimpressed Studios because you're kind of
Right.
stupid about it, but it's so funny, and I think it perfectly sums up what we've been talking about so far.
It was just a joke at the beginning, but
For European when they come to America, making fun of us
like
ever.
again, imagine growing up, you're surrounded by Michelangelo's and Da Vinci and Donatello, and then your Sunday trip is like a visit to the museum. First of all, we go so hardcore on museums that
Yeah.
now, after 2 years here in the States, I'm kind of like zoned out. I can't even remember what a real museum looks like. Sorry.
No,
New
that's
York, great. LA, it's kind of lax.
yeah, yeah, no, you're
So many Rothkos and Basquiat I can look at. But
listen to you. Such I love it.
um, but yeah, so Unimpressed was I was named Unimpressed because after moving here from Italy, I would be shown like the lights of the valleys from again, sorry. I will be shown the light of the valley from Mulholland Drive.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, it's not like from Piazzale Michelangelo in Florence where you can have a look at, the Brunelleschi.
Just by the names, you can tell the quality of life is better. Yeah. Yeah. No, but it's not even in like a pretentious or materialistic way. I feel like it's quite the opposite. Like I think the Italian culture just values life, like and like the little things in life and just enriching it and yeah.
When I'm thinking about what the Medici's did for Italy and for Florence, they basically started Renaissance. They were, all these mecenates, basically just like keeping artists alive, just, paying them to create beautiful
Yeah.
stuff. Like, yeah, I mean, this is sort of, I don't know where that puts me. What did I do with my life? So it's kind of like, it's always like a sort of push in trying to make things better and perfect and great and really having like a purpose in life and not really caring about anything else. Such a work driven person. My life is made 80% of just work. I
Right.
always work. I love to create. There's so much out there to say. There's so much to say that there's so little time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it kind of sums it up. Research for not perfection, but like, the best, what's the best you could do?
No, I get it. I definitely get it, especially as like an Italian coming to America and you're just like, look how like the potential of just life and architecture and food and fashion. You guys set the bar and I think it's kind of a good I guess standard to set for yourself is that you want to reach that bar and reach your full potential. So let's talk about Unimpressed Studios then, because you got the funky floral patterns, you got the bright colors, the materials, they're perfectly tailored, and it's obvious that you do not settle and are consistently sourcing the best materials. So, how do you source your materials? Can you let us in on any secrets?
Well, I have my secret places where I go to, of course.
Ooh.
Most of it is sourced in Italy because, of course, it would have the real faithful vintage fabric, vintage pattern, the original thing that I'm going for. So like there's this spots in Prato, which is close to Florence, is actually the place for for discarded clothes. It has actually like there's a history behind it. It became famous during World War II. That's where all the samples, all the scraps went to, and it sort of like became the Italian capital of scraps. So literally like of warehouses full of stock, of dead stock stuff. So back in the days when I was in Polimoda, that's a school that I did in Florence where I learned fashion. We actually had to go find someone who would take us there to Prato to find the fabrics for our collection.
Uh-huh.
And that was the original dead stock. We didn't call it dead stock 10 years ago. We just
Right.
called it stock. And I was like,
Yeah.
I don't even know what that was, but it was still like the overproduction,
Uh-huh.
rolls of fabric from all the mills in Italy that then gets gathered in there.
But I even like that. Just sorry, just for a second. I like that you guys didn't call it dead stock because I think it just I don't think it means that you weren't doing it or you weren't using
Exactly.
sustainable practices. It
No.
just was so normalized, you don't have a word for it. And now it's like a
Yeah.
big deal. Like, oh my God, you're sustainable, you're dead stock. It's like,
Yeah. Our whole collections were made out of dead stock
yeah,
materials. So we just didn't know. And then again, I feel like so like when I'm making my collections here, I still feel like I'm at uni because I'm trying to put together fabrics that I found that go well together with the theme and with the
right.
color. So that's why sometimes it could be like a very limited drop, and sometimes like this time I needed to implement with prints. And of course, I'm trying to do the most eco-friendly way. Of course, printed on the dead stock material.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. What are the biggest challenges and rewards of working with the dead stock materials?
Well, yeah, when it comes to producing, especially here in the States, they're asking you for a big volume because it's going to be cheaper for you to make it, and easier for them just to go through and make 50, 100 pieces. But of course, I don't have, the numbers to produce that high,
Yeah.
those many pieces, of course. And also, like, I'm an emerging brand, so I'm not selling that much.
Right.
There's no need. Also, like, it kind of waters down the purpose of the brand of we're making a few pieces that are going to look awesome, that are going to be great. Um and also just putting together the fabric, the vintage fabrics, like the shirts fabrics are all of different widths,
Yeah.
so cutters don't like that. I am cutting them myself. It's great. It's such a like a meditative process. It's so calming. It's really like, that's the purpose. That's okay, we're doing it. It just
Yeah,
takes
it's
so long.
sustainable, it's therapeutic. What
It's
doesn't it do?
therapeutic, yeah. But
Yeah.
like I'm a perfectionist, so I want every front placket of a shirt to match so that the print is seamless on the front. And that again, that drives everyone crazy. There's a lot of materials, like it's not fast. You have to I'm cutting 1.5 shirt in a day. And my production manager downtown is like laughing through the phone. And
Yeah.
like that's a dream. That's the purpose. So I don't know any other way to do it for now. Um,
But that's some really good insight on the dead stock fabric. I think it's a very mysterious world. I think there's a lot of like misconceptions or just confusion about what dead stock is. But I think it's a really great place to start. Like I think why not use a piece of fabric that hasn't been touched but's already been made and just kind of sitting there, not being used, Like if you don't want to go through the thrifting process or asking family and friends for all their old clothes or cut up your own clothes, it's the most natural way. And it also sounds like it kind of follows a similar process to getting normal fabric. So yeah, you might as well
yeah,
go with the dead stock
exactly.
stuff. Yeah.
I don't understand why we went from a system that was sort of like more one-on-one and more like, mm, I don't know how to explain it, but like, when we went to our tailors or to our seamstresses to get our clothes done, and then all of a sudden it's 100 pieces or nothing when you
Yeah.
want to make them. That's something that I get it. Capitalism sucks. It hurts. Is there a way to sort of go back to a slower pace so
Yeah.
that we don't have to produce incredible quantities that then are going to end up in a landfill? So I'm trying to go back to that, it's hard. I'm not gonna change the world, but I'm gonna be like a small point into the universe,
Yeah.
shouting out this message. Italy's a little bit like that, but it's sort of like, of course, they're still asking for a lot of, they produce a lot. I really would like to try to salvage the craftsmanship and the one-on-one process of making clothes.
Yeah. No, it could definitely defeat the purpose if it's just going to end up back in the landfill. So some final questions. I would love to know, I would love to hear your answer for this. Looking back on your career thus far, so much more exciting things to come. But what are you most proud of achieving?
I learned so much in any studio that I've been to.
Yeah, pick one.
What, sorry?
Get to pick one.
Pick one, my favorite one where I learned so much. I don't know. I'm kind of undecided. I I was an intern at JW Anderson, and that was the place where I wanted to be. Like that was it, and I fought for it, and I rang the bell and got in and left my CV. It was crazy. It was that's a funny story, but for another time.
Yeah.
So back then, I learned really how to manually do stuff, how
Yeah.
to cut, what's the process, what's how to make it seamless, and how to design again, having a different look at draping. And then at Dior, that was
Cheating. You're cheating. She's saying two. No.
uh, yeah. So
No,
I
that's
guess I would pick definitely JW Anderson, more hands-on on how, because again at Dior I learned so many other things about the luxury business, but there were so many people working for the brand that your role was like so tiny, it's such a
yeah.
tiny little, but JW Anderson was that, yeah, really like hands-on how to do things.
And even just like watching your hard work and really wanting something and then getting yourself there, it's an amazing feeling, and it kind of led you to where you are now. So I can definitely,
Yes.
I mean, your early studio work is everything. Wow, well, keep going, Victoria. This was such a pleasure. It was so cool having you on the show today. I mean, I'm having a future fashion legend in my midst, like House of Victoria
Thank you so much.
Buraschi in the future. I see it. I
Yes.
see it.
Speriamo, yeah. Here's hope, yeah.
Being in Italy with our favorite fashion designer over this bowl of bolognese and a bottle of limoncello. That's where I've been the last 45 minutes.
Yeah,
So thank you
that's
for
where we
that.
should pick that up. Yeah.
Same time next week. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks. Here's tomorrow, hopefully, and more clothes soon. I hope.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm really excited to see what's
Yeah.
coming. Always.
Well, yeah, thank you so much for being a supporter. Of course, sustainability is so important. We're trying to make the best of it with, the tools that we have these days. Just trying to fight
Right.
overproduction.
Help us. Help us. Yes, please support Victoria. You guys have to see your pieces. Even just look at her Instagram feed for 1 second and you'll know what I mean about the back in time mod fashion boutique. So that is all linked in the description. And of course, Victoria, I will never stop supporting. Love what you do. And thanks for coming on.
Thank you, Lexi. Likewise.
Yeah.
Grazie mille. It was a
Yeah.
pleasure.
Ciao, Bella. That's all I got.
Ciao, Bella.
Ciao, Bella. And until next month.
Bye.